Central Minnesota Sports Hub. It's the Morning Sports Desk, presented by Wadena's Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade. Available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts, and streaming on YouTube.
Powered by Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in Wadena, this is the Morning Sports Desk. I'm CJ Baumgartner. There is Corey Tackman. And in the middle is Staples-Motley Cardinal play-by-play voice Tyler Grunewald joining us once again on the Morning Sports Desk for a Friday edition. Tyler, it's a big one for Staples-Motley tonight, starting that dreaded 3-game stretch that we've been talking about all season. It's game 1 of 3. Give us a vibe check.
I think the Cardinals have been preparing themselves and kind of seeing what they have to offer in terms of getting ready for this upcoming stretch of games and really finding who those new players are who are going to step up and be the next players to make an impact for this Cardinals team. And I think they found a lot of those players along that offensive and defensive line, and also some of the wing players like Bo Carlson. But now it's time to see what you do against some really big-time competition in DGF. Yeah, they had a little bit of a down week last week when they went to Pillager and lost 27-12. However, they're going to be at home. They're going to be fired up, and they have a very senior-heavy and junior-heavy, upperclassman-heavy team that should be ready to give Staples-Motley their biggest challenge of the season.
Yeah, tough stretch for DGF, too, if you include Pillager, who's playing red-hot football on top of all this. Before we do a breakdown, Tyler, of tonight's game with the Rebels, let's go back. Let's take a look and recap a little bit, some highlights from your perspective on the Staples-Motley homecoming game against the Perham Yellow Jackets.
Yeah, looking back at the Cardinals' big win, 49-14 over Perham last Friday night in a very rainy night. Rain definitely affected a lot of plays in the game, but didn't really affect the outcome as the Cardinals were able to overcome a lot of those footing issues and maybe some of the ball handling issues that does happen when you do have torrential rainfall during the game. I was grateful for a press box, an indoor press box. Zeke and I walked out pretty dry and just had a little wetness on the way to walk to our vehicles. But no, it was a really good win. Colby Tappy had 114 yards on the ground with 5 touchdowns. I mean,
Jeez.
When you're scoring a touchdown every 3 carries that you have the football, that's a pretty good day at the office. Luke Bjerga also adding 82 yards on the ground and a touchdown, as he's really shown how good he's progressed from year to year in the backfield. It's hard to see the progression, on the offensive line, but in the backfield, when Bjerga goes back there, you can see him running through players, but also running away from players, and that's just shown that next level that he's really increased his game from season to season. So it's really going to be exciting to see that, and also to see what the Cardinals' defensive line can do against this tough DGF team coming up, as they really showed a lot of physicality against Perham. It was also the first time the Cardinals faced a deficit. It was early on. It was only 7-6, but the Cardinals responded right away and scored a touchdown on the ensuing possession, and were able to recapture that lead. And really the second half, they didn't really look back, as they kind of took the wind out of the sails of the Yellow Jackets come the second half.
And, that's a lot of that battle testing. We've talked about it throughout the season, Tyler, with Staples-Motley. Last year, they had a lot of Class A teams on the schedule, and nothing against them, but, just a really good Class AA team compared to some nice Class A schools. And now, not only is Staples-Motley facing some good AA teams, but they're facing AAA teams in Perham, in East Grand, and now tonight in DGF, and that battle-tested nature. You obviously want to play great competition, rise to the level of play. There's also hey, are our guys wearing down over the course of the season? Are we having bumps and bruises? Everybody staying healthy? What's the battle-tested nature? Do you think they're coming out cleaner on the other side? How's it looking with, a tougher schedule, a lot of bigger schools this year on that Staples-Motley slate?
I think that's a great question, CJ, and that's actually something I asked Coach Potter. And the Cardinals right now are really healthy because they haven't seen those tight, close games where they've had to really stretch out their starters and deep into the second half. This last week against Perham, they did have their starters play into the third quarter, but I don't think anybody really played in the fourth quarter too much for the Cardinals as in terms of a starter. So they're really healthy and don't have really any illnesses coming into this one. But as you get into these games, and as I remember from last year during the state tournament run, when you're facing that tougher competition, you lean on those playmakers like a Colby Tabby, like a Luke Bierga a little bit more. And then you have to see, can they hold up against this tougher stretch? Because like you said, there's no bye weeks or, like the sleeper games. That every game is important going through this stretch. And with how tough the section is now for Staples-Motley, with Royalton and Holdingford in the section, you want to make sure that you're playing playoff football at home as much as possible before you go onto the Fargo Dome.
All right, let's look at tonight's tough matchup then with DGF. What's the MO, Tyler, of Rebels football?
Rebels football, it's going to be a lot of wishbone formation with a double tight end. So there's going to be tight ends on both sides of the tackles. They're going to have a fullback in front and two halfbacks behind, and it's going to be a lot of power running football. A lot of running football. If you can stop the run, you can kind of stop them. However, they will go into a kind of a double wing type formation where they'll bring in a slot receiver on both sides of the tight ends and then a receiver on the side outside of that. Wing back, and then that's where they really like to do a lot of play action and do a lot of passing out of that and really spread the receivers out as they start tight and then they spread out into the field. And it can become quite a challenging, as I looked at some of the game from the last 2 weeks, as they are able to get in that backfield. And the quarterback has got a pretty decent arm, maybe not so great on the accuracy, White Conklin, but he's 6'5" and 185 pounds, so he's definitely not a small quarterback by any stretch of the imagination. He is mobile and able to get out into the open and make some plays with his own feet as well.
Staples-Motley play-by-play voice, Tyler Grunewald, having a matchup with Dilworth-Glyndon-Felton and Staples-Motley tonight. 6:40 pregame, 7 o'clock kickoff on 98.5 FM and AM1430 KNSP, The Fan. Tyler, thanks so much for jumping on and give us the update. And not much easier coming up the next couple weeks on the schedule with Barnesville and Pillager showing up here. So it'll be a fun stretch to listen to you guys and to see what Staples-Motley can do. Have a great call tonight, Tyler. We'll talk to you later.
Thanks for having me, guys. We'll talk to you next Friday.
All right, there goes Tyler Grunewald, play-by-play voice of Staples-Motley football. I still can't believe this section, Corey. You have Staples-Motley defending state runners-up in AA. You have Osakis, who's having a 3-1 start to the year. You have Holdingford, who's a 4-0 start to the year and beat Osakis last week, Saturday morning in Sauk Center. And then Pillager getting wins over Barnesville and DGF. Overall, it's shaping up to be just a impressive section.
I am tried and true. Section 1 is the best section in the state when it comes to football, amongst at least the smaller and smallest classes in the state. That's not true this year in AA. The best section in the state is 6AA. It is an absolute juggernaut, and getting out of that thing is going to be no small task.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how things pile up here. That we've said this on air, we've said this off air. That second round Saturday is going to be just phenomenal.
It's insane. Both those matchups, the two
all four of those teams could be in the state tournament and win a game.
Well, they're good. Those 4 teams are all going to be ranked in the top 10. Like it's there, and that is
right now.
It's not the case in every section. That's the case, and it won't be this way. Although they're all going to have to play each other, so their QRFs are just going to be stupid. Like it might be not just that all 4 teams are in the top 10. It might be like top 7 or something.
It'll be insane, and it's why, like Tyler said, home field advantage is going to be so important in this. Having it in your field, in your building, for lack of a better term. But not having to go to Holdingford, I think, is kind of everybody. Not having to go to Osakis. Let's make them come to Staples-Motley. Let's make them come to Pillager. You know what I mean? Because as we've seen, Pillager let Barnesville and DGF come into their building, and both teams walked away with losses. So it's much more, it's a lot easier to let them come into your building and not have to take that 2-hour bus ride over.
Did he say, is Royalton in that section too?
Royalton is in that section, yes.
So Holdingford and Pillager are tied for number 1 in QRF.
Hard to argue against it.
Staples-Motley is number 5. Osakis is 9. Royalton is 14. So your defending champion and your defending champion runner-up.
Mm-hmm.
Staples-Motley is 5. Jackson County Central is 6 in the QRF.
By the way, Jackson County Central is the number 1 high school recruit in the state in Roman Voss.
Correct.
Yeah, and they're 6th.
It's nuts, man. It's nuts. Oh, by the way, and then section 1, Goodhue, Chatfield are ranked 3rd and 4th. So section 1 is not having a down year at all. It's just that section 6 is maniacal.
It's going to be insane. And it's going to, we talk about battle tested, whichever team comes out of that section is going to be the 1 seed in whatever. It'll be the North half most likely, but will be the number 1 seed.
Crazy, man. It's just crazy.
It's insane. So it'll be really fun to, again, that second round Saturday. What if I'm just spitballing here? So like, I'm not speaking anything into existence, but like, what if we get a second round Saturday, Staples-Motley versus Pillager to go to the Fargo Dome, 2 top 5 teams in the state? Like that would, oh man, that game would be so fun.
Be insane.
Insane. Or, and then, or you could have Osakis against either one of those teams, right? Osakis has beaten Pillager the last couple of years in that second round, or Staples-Motley's beaten Pillager to go to the Fargo Dome before. So is Osakis. Osakis has beaten Staples-Motley. The Cardinals have gotten the better of them one year. Like there's a lot of fun little rivalries that have came up, and I've talked with multiple coaches in this section before the season, and they kind of all agreed like it was going to be just a bloodbath. But I don't think anybody could tell you like everybody was going to be this sharp and this on top of things. It's fun.
Pillager has Holly tonight.
Yep. Is that in Holly?
Let's double check this.
I have to think so because Pillager had 2 straight home games.
At Holly. Holdingford is at Minnewaska area.
Okay.
That's 8-3A. That's an 8-3A team, which means, Holding, like, that should be a great game. But if Minnewaska wins it, it's not really going to impact Holdingford that much.
Right.
Because they're playing up. By the way, 8-3A, 6-3A, 6-3A, 6-3A are their last 4 games of the year for Holdingford. So they're playing up the rest of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Osakis tonight is at home versus Sauk Center. I'm actually going to call that game for our sister station in Alexandria, Kick FM. And Royalton, in case you care, takes on Melrose tonight.
It should be a fun one. Should be a fun one around the section. Hey, speaking of Section 6AA football, we got that tonight on the Superstation between Menahga and Wadena-Deer Creek. This should be a matchup of 2 teams that really feel like, hey, if this is a chance to kind of get one, like this is the game tonight. Again, every program is in a different spot and everything like that. No, obviously it kind of comes in waves for every different school, right? And Wadena-Deer Creek coming into this one, they're 1-3 through the first half. They've lost 3 in a row. Menahga's 0-4 coming into this game. But both schools really feel like, hey, this is our chance. And talking with, both coaches and things like that, they'll say, we got to do our thing. We can't look at past any opponent. We got to do all that kind of stuff. But, they also will kind of admit to you on the side, like, but the players watch film. They kind of understand where things are at. They see things. They look at QRFs like we're doing right now, and they look at section standings, and they realize this is a big one in the section to decide kind of who goes where, and this will be a big one for both schools. It's in Menahga tonight, 6:40 pregame, 7:00 kickoff, Superstation K-106, WadenaRadio.com, and the Superstation K-106 mobile app. These 2 teams last played, Corey, in a section first round playoff game in Wadena a couple years ago. Wolverines just edged out the Braves. I remember there was a big kind of 80-yard bubble screen touchdown from Teshi Lore that kind of put Wadena-Deer Creek up in that one. But like it's these 2 teams didn't play each other a year ago, but it's fun to see these local rivalries in football where, again, talking with Coach Petermeyer of Wadena-Deer Creek said, it's fun to play the schools that we play in other sports because there is just that natural rivalry there as well. For Menahga, they felt coming in this year that they have some kind of, they're starting to get kids through the program. You know what I mean? Like these are kids now who have come up, play nothing but Menahga football. They were kind of in it. They're ready to roll. They've had some tough games early on, some tough opponents throughout the first half of the season. Lake Park would have been on there, Frazee on there, a couple other schools on there. So it hasn't been necessarily, their record doesn't necessarily show who they are, again, in some different circumstances, but they feel like they have a couple players who can, for lack of a better term, do some stuff. And for both teams, this is kind of their opportunity to test that out. You know what I mean?
Well, it's one of my favorite things about high school sports is it doesn't matter the trajectory of your team, right? Like we just got done talking about Staples-Motley and Dilworth-Glyndon-Felton, who are both very good football teams, but they're going to play a game tonight where they get to prove to themselves that what they've been working on all year has been working. And if you just clip that and apply that to this game, the same is true. These two teams both now get to prove to themselves that what they've been working on all year can actually pay off and show some dividends. And those are really important games. Again, it doesn't matter what your win-loss record is. It doesn't matter what the trajectory on the season is. What matters is the progress being made. Are we getting better week to week? Every coach is going to say that in spite of their record, right? Are we getting better? And this is one of those weeks for these teams where they finally get to prove to themselves, like, yes, what we're doing, what you're doing, we promise you it's working. There's going to be a time where you're going to get to see it. This is going to be one of those nights where they're going to get to prove that to themselves. And then obviously when you get those sorts of opportunities, it's nice to have it pay off in the record book as well. So I just love this. I love this part about high school sports is that you get those nights. And by the way, those nights don't always happen, right? There's nights where you're just totally and completely overmatched and what you're working on is going to become irrelevant and it becomes about not getting stomped. Or you're playing somebody, you are on the team that's way better than somebody else and you're just like, you can kind of go through the motions. This is test your mettle here a little bit. This is what it's all about. I mean that sincerely too. I just love this part of high school sports.
And plus, when you see a rival on the schedule, that also, it's like, hey, we want to make sure we beat that team up the road or down the road, or like we want to show that we're kind of, you want to have a little bit of bragging rights too that always come into this.
You hate them. That's just the rule.
Right. You have to. But I kind of know that guy. He's a good dude. Doesn't matter. You hate him. He's across on the other sideline. You know what I mean? Like,
man, I'll like him in college.
I'll like him when the season's over. I'll like him in the middle of the summer. But right now?
No, I don't like that guy.
Right now, I've blocked him on Snapchat. Like you
want to know what my line coach would always say in high school?
Sure.
It was really hard to not laugh. This is probably why I wasn't good at football. Before the game, his speech every single time was, you put that helmet on and you strap that chin strap on. You're the meanest SOB that ever lived. And I was just like, Coach, I was at swing choir this morning. I don't know what I'm not the meanest SOB that's ever lived.
See, it wasn't a direct one-to-one comparison, but this was exactly me in football of like, I loved playing football. I loved getting out there. I like popping the pads. I like doing all that stuff, but I just had no mean streak to me. So I sucked at football in that sense of like, I could never play defense. I did not play defense. In fact, I played offense. Like I played tight end. I didn't really play both ways. I would mix in every once in a while, but like I would just be kind of out there. Like, please don't run towards my direction. Like I liked football. I liked getting there, but I wasn't the biggest kid. I wasn't the fastest kid. Wasn't the strongest kid. If I was, I would love it. And I would have a little bit more of a mean streak, but like my freshman year, man, I got just beaten to a pulp by seniors in practice every day. And I was like, it's a miracle. I look back on it that I still stayed on football. I'm glad I did, by the way. Football's awesome. Play football. But, it's just one of those where it's like, I had to do some introspection. I was like, I got to get better or I got to find something else. There was no cross country back then. All my friends were still in football. So I kept doing football. And then I grew to really, really love it. And I like playing it. I always loved football, but like playing it and doing it and stuff like that. And you get opportunities to love playing it tonight. With Wadena-Deer Creek and Menahga. Some players to watch for each side. Caden Nemeth for Wadena-Deer Creek is kind of a guy who didn't play a lot of running back last year, really didn't play any running back at all. This year kind of got thrown into action due to some injuries, and he toted the rock over 20 times on Friday's game against Holdingford and battling through a little bumps and bruises throughout the season. Coach Petermeyer told me, he's like, hey, if he can get through that game, he can get through anything. So he really is credited his toughness and able to kind of stick things out, and has been a good kind of solid running back for this football team for Wadena-Deer Creek. Over on the Menahga Braves side of things, their junior running back, Conrad Cole, is kind of who paces things there. They also have, a couple linemen that they really like, and right tackle Tanner Trombley. They also have senior Dean Torma, a couple of players who really are kind of looking to shine here in tonight's game as well. Again, 6:40 pregame, 7 o'clock kickoff, Superstation K-106. Find the full broadcast schedule online when you go to WadenaRadio.com or by following Sports Cow on Facebook.
Moo.
All right, Corey, we're going to talk about some volleyball games from the night before, Park Region Conference action. But first, let's talk about the Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in Wadena.
Well, I have to once again tell you, it's the ultimate prize giveaway from the Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade. You could win a Nintendo Switch 2 and a 50-inch TV. Not or a 50-inch TV and a 50-inch TV. All you need to do is have a FunZone Rewards account. If you have it already, you are already entered. But here we are, CJ, it's the 26th of September. You have until the 30th. You need to join by the 30th to get entered in to win. If you're not a FunZone Rewards member, join. Scan the QR code on your screen right now as you watch the Morning Sports Desk on YouTube, or you can obviously and should stop into the Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in downtown Wadena, or on their Facebook page, scan the code as well. Do it. Make your account, your FunZone Rewards account, and you are entered in to win a Nintendo Switch 2 and a 50-inch TV in the ultimate prize giveaway from Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in Wadena.
All right, Corey, let's recap some Park Region Conference volleyball from yesterday. You were over in Verndale for a matchup between the Huskies and the Pirates. Give us the deets. Spill the tea. What do we got?
Well, it's nice when you predict the day of your match that it should be like a decent match. And it was. It was. Verndale ends up winning in 4 over Pillager. And set number 1 was 25-23 advantage Huskies. Now, Verndale led through a lot of that and just couldn't hold on to the lead. Coach Johnson before the game told me it's been kind of a problem for us. We've been up 22-18 or 21-16 or whatever, and just haven't been able to come on strong with a victory at the end of those sets. He also mentioned we've won by double digits in one set and then lost the next set multiple times this year. It's kind of weird and frustrating. But so this first set kind of went that way, and you're thinking to yourself oh, here we go again. And then Verndale went on to win the next 3 sets by identical scores, 25-19 in sets 2, 3, and 4. Competitive volleyball the whole way. There's nothing else more you can say about it. This was a nice volleyball match between 2 competent volleyball teams. And I do want to shout out Coach Jordan Hageman of the Pillager Huskies. She's in her first year. She's been in the elementary program and has kids at the younger levels. And she's intense and she's on it. And she's they're in a good spot, that Pillager Husky volleyball program with Jordan Hageman. It's going to be fun to watch that team kind of grow. As her tenure, we get to say the word tenure again, continues. But Verndale again comes out with the victory. Grace Cameron and Emily Elfstrom led all players with 11 kills, joined in double digits. Some of the rest of the numbers, Maddie Anderson had 7 kills. Brindley Ermentrout had 6. Sina Lehman had 2. Ellie Baker had 1. But here's the big number here, CJ, I want to throw out. This might have been the difference maker. 3 service aces for Brindley Ermentrout, Grace Cameron, Aspen Orlando, 2 for Emily Elstrom, and 1 for Sina Lehman. 13, 5, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 aces as a team for Verndale. That's a big difference when you talk about matches that were 25-19
That'll play
23, right? Pillager was led by Kaylin Karpinen. She had 10 kills. She was the lone Huskies player in double-digit kills. Ella Barrett finished with 8, as did McKenna Camacho. Sophie Schlosser had 7, and Chloe Van Vickel had 1. I think on our broadcast schedule next week, we have Pillager and Staples-Motley.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we do.
View that schedule, by the way, at wadena-radio.com. I don't know this yet, but Annie Schlosser, Staples-Motley Cardinals, Sophia Schlosser, Pillager Huskies. We get to find out what sort of relation, because I would assume it gets to play against each other. So that's going to be a fun little storyline going into that matchup next week. But once again, it was Verndale over Pillager in 3 Park Region in 4 in Park Region Conference volleyball last night.
Yeah. All right. We got a good one there. Flipping things over to Wadena. At the Wadena-Deer Creek Middle High School gym, it was a Park Region Conference clash between the Bertha Hewitt Bears and the Wadena-Deer Creek Wolverines. And coming into this one, Wadena-Deer Creek tied with Henning for first place in the PRC at 3-0 in conference play. And again, matchup here with Wadena-Deer Creek and Bertha Hewitt. It was really fun for a couple different reasons, one of which a conference match, but second, and most importantly, it was Orange Out night yesterday, Corey. And for those who don't know, this is really cool. So I got to see, first of all, the new gym floor and the new video board, which is excellent at the Wadena-Deer Creek School. They have such an awesome setup with there. They've done a lot of work in making graphics and doing things, and it looks really stellar. It really, really does. But also they were able to put up on the screen what the Orange Out night is, what it represents, and all that stuff, so you can let anybody who comes in the gym know. And so I took a picture of it. I'm just going to read what was on the screen.
Sure.
It says, Orange Out in loving memory of WDC's Princess Warrior Jane Feemeyer, honor of all children diagnosed with childhood cancer. And then they say you can support the Princess Warrior 5K Saturday at Tapley Park. Registration's at 8:30. The race is at 10 o'clock in the morning. But it's always a really cool that Wadena-Deer Creek does this every year with the Orange Out night, and it's always a special thing. And Wadena-Deer Creek came with the energy, and they were able to get a 3-0 victory. And they were able to get that with scores of 25-14, 25-18, and 25-16. Wadena-Deer Creek was rolling in this one. And I thought, Corey, even though she ended up not leading the Wolverines in kills tonight, she was second. But I thought overall Jada Dykoff probably had her best game, at least that I've seen, of the season for the Wolverines. Through the first 2.5 sets, every attack she was hitting just landed. She was able to get things where she wanted to go and able to find open space. And just sometimes it feels like, the attacks can get wound up and maybe you just get a little too excited with one and it can sail or just maybe miss hit, but locked in that night, and a really good development for Wadena-Deer Creek, because not only that, Kennedy Ness led the team with 10 kills. Jada had 9. Celia Renio had 7. So did Peyton Gravel, 3 kills for Tori Malik, 1 for Leah Kircher and Ava Hall as well. On the service ace side of things, Ashley Pavick had 3, Ness had 2, 1 for Gravel and Dykoff, 2 for Avery Lipinski and Leah Kircher as well. Wadena-Deer Creek, one of the strengths this season, talking with Coach Thunberg, I said, what's, when you're kind of through this year, what's some of the things that you can lean on and rely on? And she said, our service has been great this season. Our play from the service line has been excellent. We've been able to serve the ball where we want to go, get the other team out of position early, and really get into that groove. And it's true, multiple games this season, I thought Wadena-Deer Creek has had excellent games at the service line. So that's exactly where I think they've played really well, and they finished sets. Every single time Bertha Hewitt would get out to an early lead and have the lead, or at least kind of hang around for the first half of the set. And Wadena-Deer Creek knew, when to put on the gas at the end of a set and come away and just kind of take things over. And it's like, all right, time to hunker down. We can't let this slip away. Let's win this one. And they were able to do it, and they were able to come away in 3. For Bertha Hewitt, we talked about things coming into this match, Corey. One thing you do not expect when you get there is when you talk to a coach and you see her sitting next to her team's setter in a boot. That's never a great sign.
No.
Yeah, Jocelyn Howard, the team's sophomore setter, had a stress fracture, I believe was what Coach McDaniel said, and just overall out for the last couple weeks. Again, there's, I'm not a doctor, and obviously Coach McDaniel wasn't, giving like medical advice, but she was saying like, hey, if everything goes well, there's a chance maybe she can come back towards the end of the year around section playoff time. But again, that's a best case scenario. Like, they have to figure out what to do, right? So they've kind of called up a freshman setter in Skyly Hauer, and she was able to come in, and it just looked like a team that, again, I don't say this disparagingly, a team that had an injury to their setter, and he had to call up a freshman to come in the middle of the season. Starting the year with a freshman setter is one thing, but then through games and reps, you get a rhythm and you get going. And it looked like Bertha Hewitt is still trying to find that rhythm with a new setter. Talking with Coach McDaniel, she said she really liked how her team responded, how her team has been dealing with it. Like, they've had the right attitude, they've had the right approach. It's just, there's just some things you have to work out. And the only way you're going to work that out is to go in a game and play and figure it out. And that just means there's going to be some growing pains along the way. And I thought that was it. Bertha Hewitt, there were a couple times where it just looked like they weren't getting their attacks. They were getting it kind of at the back of the front row, if that makes sense, and not quite getting things lined up right at the net. There was also just after that first initial bump, where is the offense getting set up? Who is on the floor? How are you getting set up? And it just felt like there were a couple different times where it was just out of sync. And again, that's not to say that they were played bad. It's just to say it's a team who's got to work through some communication, because every other team has had most teams have had the benefit of half the season getting used to a particular player in a particular situation. And now they just kind of have to relearn it in the middle of the season. So Bertha Hewitt still, again, wide open Section 5A. They still feel like if they can get things together, they have a good shot to compete there. And they still do. Wadena-Deer Creek obviously is trying to compete in Section 8 AA, which is a fun and tough section in its own right. So Wadena-Deer Creek does get the win. They improved to 4-0 in conference play. And Corey, just taking a peek at the Park Region Conference and where things are at in volleyball at this point in the season, is Wadena-Deer Creek 4-0, heading upon looking at MinnesotaScores.com is sitting at 3-0. They had a match. They did not have a conference game this week, so they did not play a conference game. So technically Wadena-Deer Creek is in first place in the Park Region Conference. Henning is number 2 at 3-0, Verndale 2-1, Sabika 2-2, Bertha Hewitt, Pillager, Menahga 1-3, New York Mills 0-2. So that's how things are shaping up here throughout the first part of the season. Bertha Hewitt is the tournament on Saturday that they're hosting, starting at 9:00 tomorrow. Wadena-Deer Creek is off until Tuesday. It's homecoming week next week, where they take on Barnesville. And then on Thursday, Corey, speaking of broadcast schedule coming up, Thursday afternoon for homecoming, a conference matchup, 2 teams at the top of the PRC. It'll be a matinee of volleyball on Thursday on KWAD between the Hornets. Yes, for homecoming. They are going to play it with the student body present, and what a match to pick.
Let me say, as respectfully as possible, hell yeah, that's going to be so awesome.
Henning at Wadena-Deer Creek, 12:45 pregame, 1:00 first serve, Thursday, October 2nd from the WDC Middle High School gym for homecoming. That'll be
awesome.
That'll be a good one. All right, Corey, let's wrap a couple things up here. Speaking of games coming up this weekend, Minnesota Vikings are going to Ireland to take on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Will the Vikings have the luck of the Irish over in Dublin? Or, is the pot of gold not going to be at the end of the rainbow? Is there any other Irish thing I can get in there? Will they steal their Lucky Charms? You know what I mean?
I didn't like any of that, CJ.
Good. I was hoping you would react that way.
It's an early start time, 7:30 pregame, 8:30 kickoff, Superstation K-106. I think the general concern is TJ Watt, right? Is TJ Watt healthy? Is he playing?
He's playing.
And a busted up offensive line. So and Carson Wentz, and that will continue to be the general problem. Pittsburgh's offense has not looked great to start this year. The Vikings defense seemed to have turned a corner against a very, very rough Cincinnati Bengals team. So I don't know. I'm just kind of fascinated. It's all weird. They didn't leave until last night. So the Vikings didn't. So, but I mean, they're going to get a couple weeks over there. Anyway, I just don't know how any of that impacts them. If it does impact them, I just don't know. I don't understand how any of that works, because I've never had to play football 6 hours away from my time zone. I don't know. I don't feel unconfident. I don't feel brash about saying the Vikings win. I definitely think they could and probably even should win this game.
Yeah. By the way, let's take a look at the injury report here. It's been updated for Friday already. Donovan Jackson, JJ McCarthy, backup tight end Ben Urasek, and Andrew Van Ginkel all ruled out for this game.
Is it lingering thing with the Gink?
Probably. I think it's you get him out there. He only played 8 snaps in last Sunday's game.
Is that all it was? Oh, wow.
Yeah, it wasn't a lot, although he had 2 sacks in those 8 snaps. So love the efficiency in that. Christian Darasaw, it doesn't have a participation or not, like a full participant, limited participant. It doesn't say anything for him, but he did not practice on Thursday. Jonathan Hargrave was a full participant. So was Ryan Kelly, who is officially out of concussion protocol and will start. Although I thought Michael Juergens did a much better job last week compared to last Sunday night, filling in at center and maybe kind of who is going to replace Kelly next year. Maybe Michael Juergens is that guy. Josh Metellus, a full participant. Jalen Redmond, full participant. Justin School, a full participant. Harrison Smith, limited participant. He did miss practice, but they say it's non-injury related rest. Oh, I should say, they said Christian Darasaw did not practice on Thursday, but that was because of rest. So so he's fully participating on Friday or today's practice. So that's not, they've kind of said they're going to give him rest days just to keep his knee good throughout the year. But overall, even though the Vikings don't have Donovan Jackson, they do regain Ryan Kelly. So this offensive line still has not been at full strength yet this season. But again, as we talk about, it's a lot easier to overcome 1 injured lineman than it is to overcome 2 injured linemen. And also with Carson Wentz getting a veteran center, who, by the way, he played with in Indianapolis.
Right.
Is going to be a good thing. And also, again, having Darasaw back, where you feel like Blake Brandel stepping back in at left guard for 1 game, you're like, well, that guy started last year and wasn't great, but also when he was next to Darasaw wasn't bad. It was when Cam Robinson was there, then all of a sudden the hole started to kind of come through. So overall, I think injuries, there's, again, a couple bumps and bruises here and there. Donovan Jackson's out until the bye, which was a shame because he had 2 out of 3 games this year, put together really nice football games, and looks like the Vikings might have something there at guard. But overall, I think this is just going to be, for the Vikings offense, is Carson Wentz who we thought he was, or is he still kind of going to put together enough game managery type throws to keep the train on the tracks and kind of help things out? I think that'll be the thing. These international games always get weird. They're always low scoring, and it'll just kind of be whichever team makes the most amount of mistakes.
Yeah, the thing I think I'm most excited about is that they're early, so I just get to watch the game and then have the rest of my day.
See, this is the thing. I hate the early kickoff from my favorite team. It's 8:30. I
mean, I agree with that, except for the part where I just get to have the rest of my day to do whatever I want.
If they lose, it's like, all right, cool. I don't need to watch football the rest of the day. If I win from noon to midnight, I can just sit and watch football knowing my favorite football team won. And it's not only that, they got to do this early kickoff 2 weeks in a row.
Correct. I know. It's crazy.
And then it's a bye week. So I don't get to watch my team at noon like a normal American until mid-October.
Well, and that the Philadelphia is a noontime game, but then they follow it up with a Thursday game.
Yeah. So on the road, by the way, to the West Coast. Thanks, NFL.
Their schedule has been weird.
It's why this game against Pittsburgh and the next game against Cleveland is so important, because the games after that, when it's Philadelphia, on the road to LA, Detroit, and then I think Baltimore.
Correct.
It's a 4-game gauntlet. So going in 4-1 gives you a little bit more cushion. Whereas if the Vikings go 1-1, you're 3-2, and it's like, not great, but I guess it's okay. Where if you somehow were to lose to Pittsburgh and lose to Cleveland, then it's like, all right, well, get McCarthy back in there and let's just figure out if he can do it or not.
Can I tell you a thing that I don't like about the schedule?
Yeah.
So they're going to play Detroit November 2nd.
Uh-huh.
They're going to play Chicago a second time, November 16th, and then play Green Bay. So they're going to Chicago. Why do they do that? It's so interesting to me that they're going to be done playing Chicago and not have played Green Bay even once.
Right.
That's weird. I don't like that.
I don't like it, especially when they're I remember they would do this. They did this against the Lions where it's like, all right, Vikings, you're going to play the Lions. Oh, and then you're going to play the Packers. Oh, and then you're going to play the Lions. It's like, why do that? The reason is they want late divisional games, but that's not fair to either team to basically make them turn right back around and play each other. The whole point was you play them at the beginning of the year and it's like, and then later in the year, it's like, all right, let's see who actually is the better football team and things like that. So it's
then why not put Chicago at the end of the year then too? Like they end in reverse order, Green Bay, Detroit. Why is the week before that not Chicago? I don't know. I'm an idiot. I don't know why they do anything.
It's like they did this last year, I think, too, against Chicago, where they played them in like early November and then they played them in like mid-December. It was like within a very quick span of games. And yeah, it just doesn't make a whole heck of a lot of sense. Anyway, I think the Vikings win. I think it'll be something like 20-17. That'll be my score.
Yeah, that.
Potentially the last time the Vikings will ever play Aaron Rodgers. And I can't tell you how glad I will be to have that man out of my football life.
That's crazy. I never thought about that. But yeah, you're probably right.
I mean, even when he left the Packers, he still shows up. They played the Jets last year in London. Now they're playing the Steelers this year in Ireland. And you know what? I'm sick of him. People are like, aren't you sentimental, though, about all the... No, I'm sick of him. But now that he's with the Packers, don't you? No, I don't. No, that guy's annoying. He's always been annoying. And I know it's cool to hate on Aaron Rodgers now, but remember 15 years ago, Corey, everybody loved Aaron Rodgers. He was the golden boy. He was going on episodes of The Office. He was dating Danica Patrick. He was going on talk shows. Like, this was a guy who, he was everybody's favorite. He was awesome. Everybody loved him. It was only till about 2020, 2021, where people started to get really weird about him. And he certainly helped out his own cause by doing that. But
by getting weird himself, you mean?
Yes, exactly. But also, like, I was on I never liked Aaron Rodgers, and I thought he was always kind of a, for lack of a better term, a smug prick back in the day. And now all of a sudden, everybody else gets to think, and now all of a sudden it's hip and cool. I was doing it before it was cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I said this yesterday. I don't root for anyone who doesn't play for my favorite team. And that includes guys who used to play for my favorite team. So if that's the case, like if I'm going to actively root against guys like Adam Thielen when he plays for Carolina, there's not a shot in hell that I'm ever rooting for Aaron Rodgers for any reason whatsoever. There's one instance where I would root for Aaron Rodgers. And that was if he was wearing Vikings uniforms.
Right. Or if he's playing the Packers or something, maybe you get like...
No, I don't root for... I root for the world to end when anybody else's team is playing. I don't care about anybody else, especially Aaron Rodgers. It's not empathetic of me. I understand that. I don't care.
Doesn't matter. All right, let's send Rodgers to a permanent darkness retreat on Sunday.
Deal.
Football speaking, in terms of football, his football career, don't take that any other way, weirdos. All right, Corey, one more thing before we wrap up the show, because we don't have a ton of time here before we got to get out of here. Yesterday, you were giving your prediction of where ESPN was going to rank the top 10 players in the NBA. Now, remember, guys like Tatum, guys like Halliburton were taken off this list. Guys like Kyrie Irving were taken off due to injury because they're going to miss significant time this season. So they were like, we're not even going to, we're just going to try and clear up the rankings and get them out of here because we're projecting. So they're projecting who are going to be the top 10 players of the 2025-26 NBA season. Corey, for the good folks at home, remind them quickly, what was your top 10?
My top 10 was Joker, SGA, Luka, Giannis, LeBron, KD, Steph, Jalen Brunson, Anthony Edwards, and Tyrese Halliburton.
We forgot Wemby.
Well, we forgot that Halliburton is injured and shouldn't be included on this list, and in turn then forgot about Wemby.
Yes.
Whoops. So
Oopsie.
I have an updated version of the list.
Okay.
We did this yesterday after we finished the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I placed Wemby after Giannis. So I have Joker, SGA, Luka, Giannis, Wemby, LeBron, KD, Steph, Brunson, Ant. That's my 10. Did the 10 come out?
Yes.
Was I close?
You ready? Let's test it out. Coming in at number 10 on ESPN's ranking of projecting the top 100 players for the upcoming season. Number 10, Jalen Brunson of the New York Knicks. Last year ranked 12th.
I had him 8th, so I was right there, and that's also good news for our boy Anthony Edwards.
Coming in at number 9. You ready for this one, Corey?
Yes.
Kevin Durant of the Houston Rockets.
Ooh, boy.
Ranked number 9 last season.
I had him at 7. Okay.
Probably more because of the age thing than anything else, because he's about to turn 37 years old coming into this season.
And I think it's fair, and we talked about it yesterday. I said I think they're just going to put those guys over Ant out of
respect.
And so far, anyway, for Ant's case, they don't care. They're disrespecting the old guys. Okay,
this is where the technicality comes in. If they get the opt out of going, well, we're projecting.
Yes,
who's going to be better this season.
Well, this is good news for Ant. All right.
Kevin Durant has averaged at least 25 points, 50% shooting, and 40% on threes in 3 straight seasons, the longest streak in NBA history.
Straight to the Hall of Fame for that guy.
Uh-huh. Coming in at number 8, Corey, LeBron James.
LeBron
James ranked 7th last year.
Okay, and I had him at 6, right? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, still no Ant. This is exciting.
Coming in at number 7, Corey, disrespecting the old heads once again, it's Steph Curry.
I'm surprised by this one. I love Steph. But as he gets older, LeBron keeps his physicality. Right. Steph keeps his shooting, but LeBron is enormous, and Steph is just not. And so I'm surprised that is the case here. But I mean, whatever. It's a coin flip for all 3 of those guys.
Curry made at least 300 three-pointers in a season for the 6th time in his career last year. All other players in NBA history have 4 combined seasons with at least 300 three-pointers.
We've never seen anyone like him.
No, insane.
No one has ever seen anyone like him.
Coming in at number 6, ya boy, Anthony Edwards. Last year ranked 10th.
Wow. I love everything about this. Yes, great, cool. I had him at 10 because I thought they were going to respect the old guys. They're disrespecting the old guys. I love it.
Biggest question, says ESPN. Will his penchant for getting technical fouls and being fined by the NBA continue? I think we all know the answer to this one.
Gosh dang it, it better not. Also, I'm interested in, if I'm Jalen Brunson, am I pissed off about this?
Maybe. Depends on if he's actually looking at it. Probably, if he sees it, yeah.
Wasn't he awesome?
Yeah, he was.
For the 2.5 year in a row?
They got caught up in Tyrese Halliburton mania,
If this is the thing, if I were him, my list maybe now would have started with KD, LeBron, Steph, then Brunson, then Ant.
Do you think maybe it's because this year it was hey, Ant took him there without Cat, whereas he had to get there with Cat. Maybe there's something kind of in that mix of I don't know. I think I'd be disrespected if I was Brunson. I'd feel disrespected if I was him. Probably, but still in the top 10. Here's a stat for Anthony Edwards. Led by his league best to 320 made 3-pointers, Anthony Edwards averaged 27.6 points last season, the most in a season in Timberwolves history.
He's great, man. I'm so happy he plays for my favorite team.
Mm-hmm. I'm so happy we get to see him in the trees. This is great. Number 5, Victor Wembanyama. Last year ranked 11th.
Hey, I had that exactly correct. That's the one pick I'm going to get. I did get it right. He's
been working with a ton of NBA vets over the summer. He was training with Kevin Garnett. He was training with Hakeem Olajuwon. He was testing his kung fu training in China. Wemby's kind of been doing everything. So,
Wemby is probably the number 1 player on this list next year.
If the development kind of goes according to plan, yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, good. I like this.
Number 4, Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Got that exactly right.
Last year he was ranked 3. Number 3, Luka Doncic.
Yes, got it right. Good.
Last year ranked to number 2. Coming in at number 2, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Yeah.
Coming in at number 1, to nobody's surprise, Nikola Jokic.
Way to go, Joker. You did it.
You did it.
Hey, I did. I nailed the first 4. Then we remembered about Wemby, and then I put him exactly where he needs to go. Please don't take offense to that. Mr. Wembenyama. I have no reason to hate you at all.
He's going to use his kung fu training to track down Corey Tackman and karate chop him into next week.
He's like friggin' Inspector Gadget. He could chop me from wherever he is right now, wherever I am right now.
His nickname of the alien is aptly named.
So what is he, 7'6", 7'5"? Something like that. What's his wingspan? I want to know. Are his arms somehow longer than his height too?
He has a wingspan of
weird Kevin McHale freak. The Kevin McHale who's like 6'11".
His wingspan is estimated at 8 feet. He's measured at 7 feet 3.5 inches tall.
Holy balls, man!
He's an alien, man.
That's stupid.
Stupid.
No one has ever looked like him ever. Or been people. Plenty of people have looked like him, I guess, but no one's.
Nobody can play Nobody will play basketball the way this guy will be able to play, just on the sheer God-given talent alone, and the sheer God-given just measurables.
Crazy stuff. That's a good list. I'm fine. I'm fine with that list. I actually have the only person I would maybe be interested is Brunson. Maybe I would be like, you're not going to give me the benefit of the doubt over those old guys.
I took my team to a conference finals. What the heck?
Yeah.
The last year he was ranked like 12th. So I guess maybe this is like, hey, we are respecting you. We're putting you in the top 10.
Right. But his trajectory of late is the same, like the exact same as Ant's.
Right.
It's just that Ant is more of a freak, but like
it's a little more younger. You can make that case.
Yes, but like statistically, I think Brunson I don't know. It's just I would just maybe
Brunson has a much better whistle, which helps.
Correct. If I were him, I'd be upset.
Yeah, and he should use it.
And Wemby and everyone else on this list, enjoy it where you're at because you will all be down one spot next year,
except for Joker, who will just be inevitable.
I don't think so. I think Wemby's number one.
There's a good chance. The fact that they play the same position will certainly help that battle because it'll be a lot easier to compare.
He's 7'3", but if you stood him up on his fingertips, he's 8 feet tall. It's so stupid.
Oh, man.
He's a California condor.
Mm-hmm.
Freak. Circus freak. Respectfully.
He's turning you into the end of Kung Fu Panda. There you go. This is the Morning Sports Desk, powered by Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in Wadena.
Powered by Wadena's Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade. Follow the Morning Sports Desk on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And watch every show on YouTube.